Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today I'll be installing the new BIOS that should hopefully fix the stability issues with the Intel i9 13th and 14th gen CPUs. Now, Intel did provide basically their feedback and findings that they believe the issues were caused by the processors asking for too high a voltage, which is increasing degradation at a rapid rate. So they hope to release a microcode update that will keep voltage requests in check, I would imagine. Now, they promised a BIOS update mid-August, and Asus is the first vendor to have one available, at least in a beta form. Now, this was provided by the Asus Motherboard team via user or overclocker called SAFEDISK. I'll leave a link in the description below. This was provided by Video Cards. And I want to install that now. I'm currently using BIOS version 1.402. As you can see, I'm using an Intel i9 4900KS, booster 6.2. And for me, it's been working fine, but obviously that may not be the case over the long run. So I do need to make sure I'm using the latest BIOS. So all you got to do is put the BIOS on a flash key, and you want to go to Asus Easy Flash Free Utility. There you'll choose whatever hard disk you've got the BIOS on, and the BIOS version is called 1503, which will upgrade your microcode to 1.29. So that will be on my 16GB flash disk, and here it is. So it will say to you, important note is please back up your BitLocker recovery key and suspend BitLocker encryption in the operating system before updating your BIOS or ME firmware. Fine for me. I've already backed up everything. It says, do you want to read this flash file? Yes, I do. And it says, do you really want to update your BIOS? So it's telling me I got ROG MAXIMUS, says 790 Apex ENCORE. This is version 1503. Date release the 8th or the 7th of August 2024. Sorry, we do our dates a little bit different over here in the UK. This is obviously Americanized. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. You guys can watch the process. It simply updates everything, and once it does that, it will restart, and then it usually boots into BIOS, or it will tell you something's changed, and you can kind of go and explore things. So I'm not too sure what to expect. I guess what I'm going to be more interested in paying attention to is just what kind of voltage requests the motherboard will make by default using default settings, and see if performance has reduced in any way. But again, I want to reiterate that Intel has made it clear that if your CPU is already damaged or degraded and you're already experiencing these issues, this isn't a fix for that. This is just something they hope will prevent CPUs that are currently working correctly not to get into that kind of condition. In any case, they have extended warranty for tray, boxed, and OEM CPUs by a further 2 years. So that is more of a necessity than kind of them. This could still ultimately be a faulty product. And yeah, I just hope we kind of just get some clarity on the situation. I'm kind of sick of it at this point, to be honest. I can honestly say my experience has still been okay. I had a 3900K prior to my 4900KS, and that was okay up until the last 2-3 months of owning it, and I owned it for around 16 months. So I bought it on launch day, and I only replaced it to upgrade it with the 4900KS. And towards the end, I was getting out of video memory crashes. When shader compilation would occur, I would get crashes to desktop. Yeah, so there was multiple issues, and I even found that my iGPU, which I never use because I've got a discrete GPU, that was also damaged as well. That was causing blue screens anytime I went to use it. So I had to RMA that one, and that got RMA'd very, very quickly. I literally sent it back to my retailer, and within 2 days, I got one sent back to me. So it was a very, very quick turnover. So what I would urge you, if you have to RMA your CPU, try to do it through your retailer. I think Intel kind of deals with your retailer in a faster fashion than general customers. And I got my one back very, very quickly. Anyway, the BIOS has been updated, and it's going to restart now. Okay guys, so the BIOS has been installed, and it gives you a message saying, before making any adjustments in the BIOS, Please press F5 to load the factory default settings to ensure smooth operation. If setting up Intel RAID, configure VMD options according to the interface type for better compatibility. Now please press F1 to enter BIOS. So I'm going to press F5 to reset, and I'm just going to jump into the BIOS now. So you can see I am now on version 1503. So the BIOS has installed successfully. You can see that was on the 7th of August that it came out, so it's the newest available. You can see now that even at stock it's using level 5 low line calibration, 4.5 gigahertz, 6.2 on the E-cores, but it's actually using between 1.38 and 1.66 volts for the 6.2 gigahertz boost, which is a little bit concerning. If it's going to draw that much voltage out the box, that's not a great idea in my opinion. You can see by default you're using Intel default settings, which is the extreme profile. And I just want to show you something very quickly. These CPUs, they have their own kind of voltage recommendation for certain boost clocks. So for mine, 6.2 gigahertz, it requires 1.523 volts, 5.9 gigahertz, 1.43, 413, 5.6, 1.319, and so on and so forth. So depending on your bin, this may be lower or higher. So if you've got like 111 kind of SP score, you might even be able to do 6.2 gigahertz in the 1.45 range or something like that. That's better quality silicon. But ultimately, all Intel KS CPUs are bins higher than the regular ones. You can find really good regular ones, don't get me wrong, but Intel take their own time to make sure all of these CPUs can do 6.2 reliably. So this is my kind of major concern about this new microcode. Will it allow my 6.2 gigahertz boost clock to be stable? If it's going to be more reserved with the voltage request, we'll have to see. Now, this is just what you'd expect from the extreme profile, 400 amps, 320 watt on the power limit. And when it comes to how long that is, it's up to you, but it doesn't change. They're both the same. And of course, the IA TDC current limit is according to your motherboard's capability. So that's what you're going to get from the extreme profile. And from what I can see, nothing much has changed. It's not really doing anything that I've seen any different from the previous BIOS, but we'll have to see what the performance is like once I get back into my Windows. I'm gonna leave all of my settings for now. I'm just gonna enable XMP on the memory and leave it at that, and then we'll see what kind of performance we're gonna get. As you can see, XMP gives me 7200 megahertz on my RAM, and that's what my RAM does at stock. Once I do put my own settings, I'll be back to 8400 megahertz CL38. So let's have a look at what the performance is like. Okay guys, so back on my desktop now. So I'm gonna bring up HW info. This is gonna record my maximum voltage in terms of what the system's using. So you can see the VIDs here. You can see they're all in a 1.38 range at the moment. The maximum so far has been 1.430, so that's, you know, fairly within what I would expect. Nothing crazy. Now if I bring up core temp, this will show me usually boosts to 6.2 gigahertz, but you can see it's going up to about 1.4265 for 6.2, which is very conservative compared to like people boosting up to 1.5 or 1.6 volts. Now, if I was to bring up something like Cinebench R23, let's see what kind of temps and voltage I'll be getting with that. So 320 watt limit, not going any higher than that. .4 gigahertz, usually a bit higher than that, to be honest. So I'll have to go in and, oh, it's gone up to 5.5 now. So I score 39745, which is lower than I would expect. So, but you can do things to get some performance back. But the voltage and the temps are a little bit higher than I would have expected for stock, especially with low line calibration level 5 as well. Let's see what the IPC is looking like. So CPU Z will just do a quick bench. So around the 17,300 mark for the multi-threaded. You can see going out to 1.45 here, and 970. That's way lower than it should be. It should be over 1,000. So you're gonna have to do some tweaking. Obviously, my memory is currently at XMP at the moment, but let's have a look at HW info. So the maximum it's gone up to is 1.484 in terms of voltage. So it hasn't touched 1.5. I'm not too sure what this BIOS aims to achieve, but you know, it's been stressed that you should be using the latest BIOS just to stop these things like degradation from happening. But honestly, you lose a chunk of performance in every part of the CPU, multi and single, with these stock settings. So if you want to gain more out of your CPU, you're definitely gonna have to do a little bit of tweaking. I'm gonna take my time, put my system back to where it should be, 8400 megahertz, CL38, and make sure that I implement my own thermal velocity boost profile and do a few more tweaks, and I'll see what the performance is like when I'm done. So I'll come back to you guys in a moment. I'll run the same test and we can see what the difference is. Alright guys, I'm back, put in my own normal settings and I'll run those same tests again. So start off with CPU Z, does a quick multi-core test, and then it does a single threaded test. See, temps are just hitting over 90, which is kind of normal. It's quite warm today. Single core is now doing over 1,000 like it should when you're actually boosting to 6.2 gigahertz. Now, Cinebench, let's get R23 up. Let's run the multi-core. So still using that 320 watt limit, but it's boosting up to 5.6 and 5.7 now, as it normally should. Sometimes it'll boost up to 5.8, but it's kind of a warm day, so that's not going to happen. But at least I'm getting over 40,000 as I should with 4900 KS. So that's pretty much more or less back to how I expect it to run. With the settings of the extreme profile, it kind of gimps the CPU a little bit, it has to be said. So you might want to do a little bit of tweaking to get some of that extra performance back. But I'm going to finish off by playing just a game just to show like the core behavior, average voltage behavior, and I'll leave it there. From what I can see from the BIOS update, I can't really see anything that's changed apart from losing a little bit of performance. Other than that, it seems normal. If we look at the voltage requests, you can see that the maximum has been 1.510, which is normal for 4900 KS, and averaging about 1.446. So it's not doing something crazy like hitting 1.6 volts like some gigabyte motherboards would do. You can see it's clearly boosting to 6.2 gigahertz, 6 gigahertz on some cores, 5.9, and all E-cores on 4.5. This is how the 4900 KS comes out the box. So it's quite aggressive with the voltage. Whether or not by design this will actually degrade over time, it has to be seen, because the CPU is still around 5 to 6 months old. So it's not being out long enough for people to really know if just using the stock extreme BIOS settings will cause damage, but I'll certainly report if it does. So I'm going to round up by finish off by playing Cyberpunk, one of my favorite games, and you guys can just observe the boost behavior, temperatures, and core voltage. Okay guys, I've got Cyberpunk up and running. I'm going to quickly go through the in-game settings. Playing at a resolution of 3840 by 2160, NVIDIA Reflex Low Latency is enabled. Also using DLSS super resolution at the quality preset, which basically upscales the game from 1440p to 4K. DLSS ray reconstruction and frame generation is also enabled, as well as path tracing. Everything else is maxed out. Field of view is at 90. I've turned off chromatic aberration, depth of field, and motion blur. Film grain as well. All of these things I'm not really too fond of. And when it comes to the hybrid CPU utilization, I've just left that at auto. Okay, so on the left hand side I've got my MSI Afterburner with retuning statistics server on-screen display. This allows me to monitor some statistics in real time. At the very bottom you can see CPU core voltage. You can see it's fluctuated from 1.4 to 1.385 or close to that. So in general play you won't really be touching 1.5 as it's really only for very light loads like 1 or 2 cores where the CPU will boost to 6.2 gigahertz. So running very high voltage is not really something you're going to need to worry about. But I understand some people's concern about it, but if Intel are happy with it, then I've got no reason to be worried about it. Try and look for some trouble here. Might be able to find some 6th Street guys. I think I'm in their neighborhood. Let's pull up. Let's have a look around. They're usually lurking around back alleys and things like that. What do we have here? Oh man, got myself run over. Look before you cross the road, people. Okay, who do we have here? So we've got some 6th Street gang, as I thought. They don't seem to be causing any trouble, but I'm here for the trouble. Sorry, lady. I don't think so. I got a shotgun for you. I cleaned them all out. I thought they'll provide a little bit more resistance than that. My play is a little bit too overpowered for them. Wonder if there's any more lurking around. It's alright guys, I don't really kill civilians, don't worry. Yeah, I think I cleaned them out. Call in one of my bikes. Go with Jackie's Arc. As you can see, the temps of the CPU are pretty reasonable. In the 50s, which isn't too bad. Let's see what's on the radio. Since the update, sometimes when you enable the radio, it doesn't always start straight away for some reason. I'm not too sure why that is. Okay. It's the police. I'm not going to mess with the police right now. Let's look for some more gang members. So all in all, I can't really see any differences with the microcode update. Obviously they've done something. I've done all I can to protect my CPU in terms of degradation. I've got decent cooling, which also helps. So all just remains to be seen what happens in the future. But it pays to know how your system performs on a day-to-day basis once you start seeing things change, and then you can start looking into if it's degrading or not. Everyone's hiding today. Can't see any gang members. Maybe I'd have start trouble with the police then instead. See what's going on in this neighborhood. Just say Cyberpunk looks a lot better at night time. That's when the ray tracing really comes out, in my opinion. Some of the textures look a little flat in the day. I'm on 6th Street. Where are you guys hiding? I've pretty much done every mission on this game profile, so I can't really find one to do. I can always get into it with the police. Why not? See how long they take to show up. When I took down one of your fellow officers, where are you? What's going on with the response? Here we go. At least you turned up. I don't think there's much you guys can do. Valentinas. I don't know why they coming over here to try and help. I don't think you guys are a match for me. Oh, you guys are really turning up in numbers now. Not gonna matter though. Got the Bloody Maria. It's quite the shotgun. One of the best shotguns in the game. You get it by doing all the El Capitan's gigs. Let's take some cover now. Come on, you guys can do better than that, can't you? Okay, Max Sack's here now. I'm officially a cyber psycho. I'm gonna try and lose these guys. Let's call a car. Wherever it comes, I'll go and grab it. I need some kind of vehicle to outrun these guys. You know what? I'll steal the police car. Why not? Sorry, wrong place, wrong time. Just want your vehicle. Anyway guys, I've had my fun. That is pretty much it for me. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video. And as always, thanks for watching.